You know, when I was younger, I used to look at the year 2030 or 2025, and that used to be like the future. It used to be like something I would imagine Star Wars to be. Man, I had no idea and I had no clue that there would be millions and millions of lonely men, and more egregious is that we live in a social media age where you can see the exact girl that you want. You can see a beautiful girl on Instagram, on YouTube. She could be making ASMR videos, and you're like, damn, I want her. But then you look at your past, you look at your previous days, your previous Valentines, and let's just be honest. Most guys in our situation have never had a Valentine's Day, not even once in our life. And if we tried to give girls gifts, on Valentine's Day, the girls just ignore it. They diss us and they disrespect us and they make us feel even more worse and even more bad about ourselves and our situation. It's absolutely brutal that you can be a grown man and go your entire life without having a Valentine's. You can go your entire life without having a girl in your life. And they don't understand how that's very important for a man's self esteem. It's important for you as a man to have a woman in your life. It's very important. And I don't care about what these imbeciles say. Oh, you can escort Max and do that. It's like, it's not about the escort Max. And you see, you're so short sighted. It's not about just the ejaculation. It's about the emotional connectivity. It's about holding the girl in your arms. It's about feeling that real, genuine love that unfortunately guys who look like us will never have. That's just the brutal honest truth. You know, and it's like it's the year 2026, right? And I was thinking that like eventually, I'll be able to find somebody or just find some girl to talk to and who likes me and just wants to hold me down as I, continue in my endeavors or whatever. But I look at my life and I'm like, the reason why my life is like this is because when you don't have that female in your life, you start to lose belief and confidence in yourself. It's a freaking perpetual cycle. When you go years of not having a woman in your life, when you go years of being isolated and desolated and devastated and annihilated and obliterated, when you go years like that, it destroys your motivation. Why would you want to go to school or go try to wage slave when you know you're going to come back just to wank off, you know what I mean, on some adult illicit material, and then you're going to feel empty inside. And it's really brutal when just you have access to all these beautiful women via your smartphones, via your computer. You can see the exact girl that you can just be like, wow, that's somebody who I can spend the rest of my life with. I don't need any other girl. She got a cute face. She got a nice big little booty on her, or if her butt not that big, it's a cute little butt. She know how to dress. You know, I like her voice, her personality, or well, the personality she shows online. You don't really know people, like for real on social media, right? Like you see that girl on Instagram and she's in Dubai and all that, and then you find out she's like a waitress, at Hooters or something like that, or whatever restaurant, right? And she's living that life due to like all the rich men she's screwing. But when you see how the normies react on Valentine's Day, when you see these normies, they're all smiling, they're happy, they're kissing each other in front of you, that's something that happens to me a lot. That's how I know a lot of this world is planned and is scripted. And, a lot of people want to talk about their religious beliefs and all that, but it's like, you got to look at your God. Your God is a monster. If you read that Bible, he's a monster, point blank, period. The God of the Bible is a monster. What God who's going to say in the Bible it's not good for man to be alone and then create billions and millions of men to be alone? Because it's not just us in the United States that suffer with loneliness. There's men all over the world, men in Japan. Japan has a literal forest where people go and commit seppuku in a forest because they're just alone and they're lonely and they're just stressed out from work every day. And they feel like life is pointless. And people in Korea, so, it's absolutely brutal. And there's other places around the world as well. But when you have a holiday that, is geared towards couples and people finding love and adventure and happiness and having sex and stuff like that, while you're a guy, you're probably a grown man that's probably a virgin. Or you're probably a grown man that hasn't had a woman in a decade or longer than that. Or you may have had a woman only once or twice in your life, if even that, or you've never been on a date. And that's absolutely brutal. You know, where's the holidays for men like that, right? Where's the holidays for men that are rejected and ejected by society? Men that don't always get all the women that they dream of and imagine. Men that are invisible. Men that work hard and they try their hardest to achieve something, but life just keeps bringing them down because we live in a loose harvesting environment. We have invisible entities that are enemies to humanity and they're enemies to our sanity. And it's absolutely brutal. And there's nothing we can really do about it. But let's take a closer examination at this, shall we? When you never really had a woman's real love or real touch, that affects every single area of your life. It affects what jobs you apply to. It affects your confidence. It affects like what you're willing to try and what you're willing not to do. You know, you may just get into the habit of just laying down in the bed all day and watching anime. And people say that's unproductive, but what that's doing, it's your mind trying to find a realm where you feel like you have power through the anime, and your mind's trying to protect itself. Your mind's trying to find some type of valuable, association in life, because in real life you don't have that association. In real life you don't have that. In real life you probably work a shitty job. You probably still live with your parents. You probably either have a car or don't have a car. And if you have a car, the car is, it's probably crappy. It breaks down a lot. And then it's the comparison. They say comparison is the thief of joy, but if you really look at it, not having a woman in your life and not having no money, those are the real thieves of joy. Because I'll be happy if I had a nice little woman, a nice little bubble butt, cute little face, and I was living by a lake somewhere. I get to catch my own natural fish. I got my girl, she rolling up some ganja, and I'm just chilling, minding my business. I would have no problem with that. I don't give a fuck if there's somebody with a mansion or whatever. I got my girl and I got my copes and I'm happy. But when you go on social media, it's absolutely brutal because you see how far you've either failed in life or how far you're behind in life. This life is like a battlefield. This life is like going through the trenches in a war zone where you're always going to be attacked. You're going to be attacked, especially as a lonely man or a man that doesn't really have any type of connections in life. You're going to be attacked. You're going to be attacked mentally, spiritually, physically by people. People are going to, verbally abuse you. Your family's going to turn their back against you. Hell, you may even turn your back against yourself when you stop believing in your dreams and ambitions. And that's the saddest and most coldest thing, is when you had a spark in your soul when you were younger. When you were younger, you actually had maybe somewhat belief in yourself when you were really young, before countless times of being disrespected and neglected by women in society made you want to just retreat from society. And then they call you an incel. They call you a loser. They call you a failure. They call you this. They call you that. They call you an is. They call you this. It's just like, well, maybe I'm just tired of being at the bottom. And this society doesn't care about men's mental health like that. They expect you to get up every day, go to your 9-to-5 job, work like a servant to an evil master, and then not make any complaints. Like, how can you not complain when you're not getting any poo-tang, right? You're not getting any nanny. You're not hitting it from the back and making that nanny smack. You're not doing that. So it's like, how in the hell can you be happy as a man? How can you feel alive? How can you feel that adventure for life if you don't have those experiences that you need? And you're damn sure you ain't gonna have those experiences in your 30s or your late 20s, or even your early 40s. You're not gonna, like, how are you gonna have those experiences when you're like 28, or like 33, 34, 35, or 41? When those experiences are experiences you're supposed to have when you're a teenager. This is something that it really makes me angry, because there are millions of guys in this position, millions of guys that are suffering eternally and emotionally, and they have nowhere to go. They have they have nobody to talk to, because when you talk to real people in real life about these situations, they look at you like you're crazy, because these people are actually having sex frequently. So they don't understand it. They have no idea. And a lot of these people are like the older boomers, oh, just bring her flowers on Valentine's Day and say, be my Valentine. It's like, it doesn't work that way. This is not 1952. This is 2026, where a woman can have any type of man that she wants at her fingertips, And I guarantee you, man, what's brutal is right now, I guarantee you there's a Chad and a Tyrone that's just bored. He probably has a girlfriend, and they're probably going out to dinner tomorrow or whatever, or tonight. But you know what Chad's going to do? Chad is probably going to go on Tinder or any dating site or whatever and just find some random girl who claims to be lonely, but really she's just waiting for her Chad to hit her up because she has like at least 200 simps that are sending her messages and sending her flowers and dreaming of taking her on a vacation, but she ignores them because they're not physically attractive to her. And Chad's going to be able to get about a couple of dates tonight, maybe 3 or 4 dates tonight. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. And Chad's gonna be able to smash them back to back to back, and then toss those girls in the morning, and then go with his girlfriend and go to a nice dinner or a nice brunch or a nice lunch, then have her for dinner and lunch as well. Maybe have a threesome. She may even bring her best friend or something, who's curious and wants to experiment, and Chad's gonna have a good old time. Meanwhile, there's guys that never had a girlfriend once in their life, and these are grown adult men. How do you expect a man to act like a man when you don't even give him a chance to be a man? How? That makes no freaking sense. Make it make sense, man. How does it make any freaking sense? You expect a man to go out there, grind and work and do all that and quote unquote build himself up, but he was never given the plateau to build himself up. How can you build yourself up in quicksand? How can you build a Roman empire in the middle of a swamp? It doesn't work that way. All the guys that are really successful, man, you're going to find out that they're also successful when it comes to women as well. And then you have this normie society that's going to rub it in your face. It's going to let you know that, oh, it's your fault. You're the loser. You're the problem. And in reality, you never even stood a chance. Like it was over before it even began for you. And that's the most brutal thing. It's like a lot of this shit, it was out of your control. You can't control your race. You can't control your height. You can't control these things. These are things that are just pretty much picked for you or destined for you. That's how I know that the God of this world is an evil bastard. I don't care. You may think about, oh, God's good. How is a God? Look around. Are you that blind? Are you that scared of going to quote unquote hell? Why would a good God even create hell in the first place? Read about Gnosticism. I don't just talk out my ass. Learn about the fall of the Pistis Sophia. Learn about the demiurge. Learn about the archons who feed off our negative energetic manifestation or frequency. And that's why we always go through bad things in life, because there's invisible entities that feed off our negative energy. We have a divine spark inside of us. We have a soul. We have a real, not everybody, but some people have a divine spark inside of them. And that makes them targets to the demiurge, the false god of this world. Let me ask you, who's the father of the devil? Isn't it not the God of the Christian Bible? Did not the God of the Christian Bible send bears to come from a forest and devour kids because the kids were making fun of a priest because he was a bald-headed priest? Oh, he's a bald-headed priest. He's a bald-headed priest. And then this God had a grizzly bear or a couple of bear or a she-bear come out and devour children. Children just being children. Children want to laugh and tease. That's what children do. They're in a whimsical stage of life. They're insecure. They're young. They don't know. They're just kids. And kids can be cruel. Don't get it twisted, I know. But that's a full-grown man, though. A full-grown man in his 40s shouldn't allow a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 12-year-old child to get on his nerves. You just ignore stuff like that. That's just child behavior. If somebody teases you or makes fun of you and tries to attack you, after a certain age, you just ignore it because it's just children being children. You don't engage with foolishness because somebody who's a fool is going to pull you down to their level and beat you with experience. So this is why you must keep to yourself, as a lonely guy in this situation. Don't try to, like if you got any friends or associates, hey man, you want to come out? Me and my girlfriend, we're going out tonight. And she's bringing a friend too. And you've been a guy who's never had a girl genuinely like him, like genuinely had real like and love for you. And you go out with them, that her friend is going to make you want to commit seppuku. You're gonna go try to find the nearest, seppuku rope. You know what I mean, and do the deed, right? Because when you're with those people, sometimes people know that you're one of those lonely guys that are insecure or don't have that much experience with women. So they pick on you and they tease you on purpose so they can feel superior over you, so they can feel better about themselves. So they're going to invite you on Valentine's Day and you're thinking, okay, cool, I'm going to go, just because, and you're going to get peer pressured. And then it's going to be a humiliation ritual. And you're going to wish that you never went. And that's going to scar your soul and further lower your confidence and further lower any type of accomplishments you had. Remember, you was just trying to apply for maybe a FAFSA for school. You're trying to go to a school. Now you're like, fuck it. You don't even want to do it anymore because you've been teased and humiliated. People underestimate the power of when a female really disses a man and really breaks him down psychologically. It's a diabolical scheme that's created by the evil demiurge, right? It's not good for a man to be alone for so long, and then every single year it's the same crap. And I've seen girls, ASMR channels. Oh, I love Valentine's Day. I'm so excited for Valentine's Day. You see how beautiful these women are. It's like, of course you're excited for Valentine's Day. You've never been alone in your life. You've had people kissing your ass the whole time. So you don't know how it feels like to think about septuple. You don't know how it feels like to be on Valentine's Day year after year after year till it goes into decades where you sit in a dark room and let's say you don't even have your cokes, you don't have no alcohol, you ain't got no marijuana to smoke, you have none of that. So you got to just sit there. You're broke, so your stomach's growling, you're hungry, you're thirsty, you got a couple of Aquafina water bottles or Dasani water bottles left, you're out of your EBT, you don't have really no money like that, you know. You may have ordered some online, kush from an online dispensary or whatever, but it's going to take another week or two for it to get there. You're miserable. You're sad. You're sexually frustrated. You want to go to an ASMR video. Then you see a girl talking about, yeah, me and my boyfriend are going to go here and here and here and here. And you're like, damn, you know? That's one thing that makes me mad too, is when you're watching ASMR, watching shit like that, and the girl just casually mentions her boyfriend. It's like a little flex or however. And then you see all these simps giving her money on her OnlyFrauds or giving her money on her Patreon and all that. And she's already rich. She already has like 200,000 subscribers, or hell, maybe 50,000 subscribers. She already has like a little fan base, and that's already giving her money, and she's monetized on YouTube. So she's getting she's getting something, right? But meanwhile, when you make content like me and you actually talk about real shit, I already have 10,000 I have over 10,000 watch hours right now and over 1,000 subscribers. Yet YouTube refuses to monetize this channel, which is crazy because I got monetized quicker when I was Black Pill Villain. In 5 months, I got over 10,000 watch hours in 5 months, and just about 1,000 subscribers in 5 months. Because people know I'm saying some real shit on here. I'm not just talking out my ass, I'm talking through pain. I'm talking through analyzation and calculations, man. Cold calculation. When you're a lonely man, bro, just try to survive today. Try to survive the Valentine's Day. Try to survive it by sticking to yourself. Don't look at social media. God, I forbid, please, God forbid you look at social media. See all these beautiful young girls, cute faces, cute booties, going out with their Chads and Tyrones, If anything, just try to stick to yourself, man. Just try to play your favorite video game, binge watch your favorite anime. One of my favorite animes of all time is Konosuba, or Konosaba, with Kazuma and Megumin and Darkness and Aqua, the goddess, the water goddess. That's one of my feel good animes that I love to watch to make myself feel a little better. But it's absolute hell to be in this environment. Like when you're a guy that's already dealing with psychological issues, right? You're already dealing with the family doesn't give a damn about you. Your family doesn't give a fuck about you. Otherwise you wouldn't be in this position in the first place. You have low self-esteem and low confidence. You've been going through the same shit year after year after year after year after year. Till the tears just get frozen. The tears get frozen solid and you start to feel empty inside. Touch starvation is a real thing, Like, it's brutal. Absolutely brutal, bro. Like, sometimes, man, because you guys know I'm honest on my channel. I don't hold nothing back, to my detriment at times, because but there's been times where I watch an ASMR channel, I see an ASMR girl, bro, and when you're in a lonely position, bro, I start to just imagine me being with her, right? And I know it's just foolishness because she already has a boyfriend and I know it. And I start to just have these thoughts, I start to put myself in that girl, we're in a dead space situation where we're trapped on this space station, and it's just me and this girl just happen to meet. You know what I mean? And I save her from a necromorph, and then now we got to team up with each other, and we find a little safe place in the alien infested space station, and we talk and get to know each other, and then we battle our way through the station, and then we escape through a drop ship, and then we start to kiss and make love, and then she kind of forgets about her boyfriend, and I become her new man or whatever. I have these imaginary fantasies in my mind, and that goes on, and not just space stations. It goes on with shit like Lord of the Rings and fantasy type shit. I find a cute girl and I kind of make her my muse. And it's detrimental to the fundamental and essential mental health that you need, because when you open up your eyes from these dreams and imaginations and fascinations, you realize that life is obliteration. You realize that this whole life is designed to break you. It's not a good world we live in, man. We don't live in some happy-go-lucky realm. We live in, like, whatever God created this, which is the demiurge, is not good. Why would a God put fear in your heart? Why? 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 Why would a God program fear into your heart? I was playing what's that game? Metal Gear Solid Revengeance, I believe it's called. And I was playing the DLC with you're that little AI robot dog. And then he said, and he was talking to this boss, and like the AI robot dog said, my creators didn't put fear inside me, so I don't know about fear, so termination doesn't scare me. And I thought to myself, like, wow, can you imagine if the God of this realm didn't put fear into our hearts, didn't give us these emotions that can be easily abused? Imagine not having that emotion of needing to have a woman in your life, and not having these emotions that make your mind negative. It's not a fair world we live in, bruh. It's really not. And then you got people who gaslight you. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. How can you talk about somebody and call them a loser and a failure if you're not willing to help that person out? I speak from my heart. I speak from my soul. You know, if there was a good, loving God, each of us would have a woman in our life that's beautiful and nice. Each of us, and we would be happy. We'd have our dreams fulfilled. We'd have our destinies, made. It wouldn't be. Why is life such a struggle? Why is life such a battle? We're supposed to be in the image of the real God, the monad, right? We're supposed to be in the image of the real God, higher than this fake realm. This realm we live in, look around. You can tell something's wrong with this world. Let me tell you something. When you get on your knees and you pray to your false God, does your life get better or worse? Does God bless you? Why do you need to pray to God for God can bless you? Doesn't he already know what you need? So why is he putting you through this hell? Why? An almighty being doesn't need to do that. But an insecure being, knowing that his reign is going to end one day, according to the Gnostic text, the demiurge, he will be defeated. Now I don't know how many millions or billions or trillions of years it's going to take, but according to the Gnostic text, the demiurge will eventually lose this. But I wish it happens quick, because it's not a good life, man. It's not a good life to be alone, bro. It's really not. And when you go years like this, when you go years of isolation and desolation, when you go years of not having that good girl in your life, it does something to you, man. It changes something inside of you, you know. It makes you look at life more cynical, and you look at life for what it really is. You wake up, you go to work, you pay bills, you rinse and repeat. And if you have any extra money or time, they say time is money, which is crazy because we're supposed to be spiritual beings. We're supposed to be eternal souls. Why is an artificially created construct such as money, able to govern us so much? Why? You should be judged on the content of your soul. If you're a good soul and a genuinely good spirit, then you should be judged on that. You shouldn't be judged on your material possessions, because when you pass away, you're not going to take them with you to the void, Or if you get loose formed and reincarnated and thrown into another body to be, the loose formed again, you're not going to take that wealth with you. I wish that life, when you pass away, is like an anime where after you pass away, you meet some goddess or you meet somebody who tells you, okay, I'm going to reincarnate you in this world. Do you want to be a wealthy person? You want to be a poor person? You want to be born to a noble family? Do you want special superpowers and all that? I would pick. Let me be born, to a legendary, wealthy, powerful family. You know what I mean? And give me supernatural abilities and powers, so I can actually experience my fullest potential. Because a man can never be his full potential when he's poverty stricken, when he's sex starved, when he's touch starved, when he's emotionally starved. Do you know how bad that affects men? Come on. You know how bad it affects a person, a human being, man or woman, right? To be socially isolated and devastated and not have no type of touch in your life, not to have no type of hugs. How many men, today and tomorrow are going to commit seppuku because they're lonely and miserable? They don't have that girl in their life and nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives them the will to fight. This life is tough. This life is hard. This life is brutal. This life is merciless. And this life doesn't give a damn about your pain. People are going to see you and attack you and attach themselves to you like a parasite. That's what people are going to do. And they're going to keep on messing with you. But the minute you punch them in the face, the minute you fight back, then you're the problem, then you're the bad guy. And these people been screwing with you the whole damn time. And then you wonder why you have people like Elliot Rodger. You wonder why. Now, Elliot Rodger, Commander ER, he had everything that I could dream of. A car, he wasn't an ugly guy, you know what I mean? His dad was European. His mom was, I think she was Asian, right? If I'm not mistaken, you know? So, and he had a sister and all that, but he eventually lost it because he went years of getting bullied, getting teased, and all that, And I'm not defending him because at the end of the day, he had a better opportunity than I'll ever have. I probably never have no expensive car or no shit like that, or meeting Hollywood people. And you already know what Hollywood is about. Hollyweird is about all type of evil. But I'm just saying I'm using him as an example of what can go wrong when you go so long without getting between a woman's thong. You know what I mean? It absolutely breaks you. It absolutely destroys you. And then you have a world that gaslights you and teases men who don't get laid often. This world will tease you. Other men will despise you. Other men will pick on you because you're not getting laid in your life. And Valentine's Day, you're going to see it all throughout the day. People holding hands, kissing right in front of your face. And it's going to be absolutely brutal.